If you recently started learning Japanese, you probably started by learning Hiragana. You might have also heard that there's something called Katakana, but what the heck is that? Let's find out. So, Katakana is actually extremely similar to Hiragana. Both writing styles are doing the same thing in that we're using a character in order to represent a sound, a syllable. In fact, the sounds that are represented in Hiragana are the exact same sounds that are also in Katakana. Here as an example, we have a, I, U, E, O in Katakana. We also learned a, I, U, E, O in Hiragana. It's the same sounds, but written in a different way. They look different because they're used for different things. You might notice that the Katakana characters are quite a bit sharper than our Hiragana characters. Here's a, I, U, E, O in Hiragana, and once again, a, I, U, E, O in Katakana. Just kind of the way it works is they end up being sharper. And the main function of katakana is for writing foreign words. There's actually a very large number of foreign words in Japanese. It's a big part of the language. In fact, they have this whole katakana pretty much for foreign words. It does end up being the case that the majority of those words are from English, which is good, because if you speak English, then by learning katakana, you all of a sudden have a large number of vocabulary that you already know from English that you can now use in Japanese as well. I like to tell my students the story that when I was in college learning Japanese, I learned two words at about the same time. I learned the words daidokoro and kichin, and both of these words translate to kitchen, but of course one of them sounds a little bit more Japanese and the other one sounds like the English word kitchen, because that's what it comes from. And at the time, I thought, wow, I'm learning Japanese. I want to use the Japanese sounding word of daidokoro. But you would kind of be wrong to do so, because the word kichin these days is quite a bit more natural, and daidokoro does not get used very often. So there is definitely cases where the katakana version of the word ends up being the better of the two because it's more natural. That's definitely going to be the main function of katakana, but there's also some other ways of using it, like writing onomatopoeia, or even just putting emphasis on a word, or sometimes just if you have a lot of hiragana in a sentence and you want to kind of mix it up, you can use katakana for that sometimes as well. Of course, at the end of the day, hiragana is the thing you need to learn first, and only when you're done with hiragana would you want to even think about katakana. The good news about katakana is because there isn't too many characters, once you've learned it, you know it, and you don't have to learn it again. So there's nothing wrong with going right into katakana right after hiragana, but normally I suggest to students to start getting some vocabulary after hiragana instead of going straight into katakana. But at any rate, that's the basic explanation of katakana, and good luck learning it.